Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and as usual, I'm joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi. Good.
That's it? Just good?
That's it. I'm a little tired, so you might get short and sweet answers today, you know?
fair
Somebody kept me
enough.
up late last night.
Yeah. I know. And joining us for the first time, we have Hap, aka Hapstream. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And then we also have, new to the show, Trackzuit. How you doing?
I am good, Bob. Thanks for having us on here.
Thank you for coming. All right, guys, I'd like to start off the show by thanking our tank patrons and Thick Lizzie, Croxford, Braxton, and Turtle Whale. I'd like to mention that we stream live on Twitch, twitch.tv/BlazinBob. That's BLAZZINBOB. We have a new Discord server. It's not really that new anymore, but we have a Discord server we'd like you to join, discord.me/Warcraft Reloaded, or you can just go to warcraftreloaded.com and find all the info there on all of our links. Oh, so we're going to start the show. We didn't get any new voicemails, so we're not going to start on those like normal. But to remind everybody, the number is 816-866-1066, or go to speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded if you're outside of the U.S. or you just want to use your computer. We're going to start out the show a little different than I'm normal. We're going to do a little interview with Hap and Track here. Get to know them just a little bit, and then we're going to talk about their guild pushing up Peacebloom. We might have a guest appearance, I'm pretty sure, from Hap's son, which will be interesting for everybody to check out. You might have heard him on Countdown to Classic. When they came on there, it was a great episode. So always tell people to check out Countdown to Classic. If you don't, I'm sure you do though. But then we're gonna just maybe talk about what we've been doing lately, and then we got a little bit of news from Wrath and a little bit of BlizzCon news, and then if time allows, we're gonna talk about a mystery topic. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to get you excited if we don't make it there. So it'll be
the anticipation and then not hearing it would be so much better for people, you know?
All right. Well, let's get into it. So let's start with Hap. Give us a little background on your WoW experience. Like, you know, go back as far as starting in 2004, if you did.
Yeah, so I had some buddies that introduced me to the game back. I don't even know what year it was. I started the patch that Maradon and Garibashi Arena dropped, and I played a warlock, but I was very green. I stacked agility on my warlock because I thought it made me run faster, and was only proven wrong when I had a foot race with someone that was setting me straight. So I was, So anyway, fast forward through the years, this game took over my life. I had a 0.68 GPA my first go round in college because of this game, which led me to the military. And then I came back, started playing again. A lot of military people in this game, and so there's and in our guild actually, there's 60% of our leadership is our veterans, and there's a lot of veterans. I would say probably like 30, 40, maybe 30% of our guild is veterans. They won't say it right off the bat, but there's a heavy veteran influence.
That's awesome.
But anyway,
yeah, my dad was a Navy chief, so I grew up knowing military, and I was supposed to be, that was the plan for a long time, was to be a Navy aviator, but my eyes went and it just never, I just decided not to join. That after college. So yeah.
There
But
you go.
That's cool. I did not know that. I really enjoy ex-military people. I don't know. I just get all along with them.
Yeah, we can talk about that when we talk about pushing a Peacebloom, because there's a heavy veteran influence on that. And,
Awesome.
yeah. I guess my main tune of choice up through BFA was Druid. I have like a 900 days played plus on Resto Druid. But when Era came out, I decided that was it for the Druid and retired the Druid, and I played Mage all the way through Era. Most notably, 2,249 runs of Princess for Blade of Eternal Darkness.
Cool.
So I lived in Moradin during COVID.
Wow, Mel and I got that 3 times while we were farming for my Edge Masters in 2019.
There were probably 4 or 5 mages that got it by accident while I was in there grinding it on purpose. So thank you to all those people that would rub it in. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot.
It always makes you feel better when you hear others have had success when they didn't need it,
We got 3 flurry axes during that time too, which we actually were able to sell. So that was nice.
Yeah, we're getting to that point in hardcore where we're about to go into Moradon, and it's like they're like, I don't know Moradon very well, and Bobby and I are like, oh, right. We know Moradon.
We know exactly where we're going. Don't worry.
Yeah, and
like the back of our hand.
I'm not bored of it. I still love Moradon. I think it is a fantastic instance. I love that place so much.
Oh yeah.
Some people. I view it as like an A. There's like 2 routes to the end. And you can't really get lost because it's just like an A. You have one side and then you have the other side. But people are like, oh, I get lost in Moradon. I'm like, how? It's 2 linear lines.
Yeah, there's like levels though, and
when my rogue that made it to 60 ran it, we forgot one of the gems. And we were at the very end and they were like, oh crap. Well, if we all they were like, let's all hearth, and then run back. I was like, I don't know if we'll make it back with the timer. And if it resets, we can't do it. We have to keep the same dungeon ID because you could only run 1. So I was a rogue and I was like, oh, well, you guys just hearth and all. We were at the goblin boss and I was like, I'll just meet you back at the start. And they're like, what? It's because there was tons of mobs up still. I was like, yeah, I'll just stealth through and just meet you at the front. They're like, you're freaking crazy. I was like, oh, okay, well, I know the place really well, so I did. And they were like, legend. Awesome. It was a good time. So
you made the mistake of going in there with an all melee group, which was not ideal for those slimes that yeah. We got fortunate to live through that, but we've forgotten about them. It's been a while for Moradon for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones that knock you down, the flowers, we almost died there. The healer had to bop and lay on hands, and the warrior tank went down to 2 hit points. It was because they just keep knocking you down, and we took 2 of them.
Yeah, it's blood petal.
Yeah, those things are dangerous.
It's a ranged ability, and it's 30 yards or something ridiculous. It's one of the only stuns that, as a healer, that you really have to pay attention to because it's got such a long range.
Dude, I blew both of my vanishes to cheap shots. So if it did end up going wrong, I was done. There was no out for my rogue. So but I couldn't let people die.
So as a mage in Moradon, though, are you the AoE mage that kind of goes through and just AoE Frost Novas everything down, or?
I learned 1 pulls, and then once the speed buff from the Bijous came out, then I learned the 310 pulls, and then I learned ZG 1 pull, I skipped out on learning SM because I had another buddy in the guild that would do SM. And
that
so
seems like the easiest.
He's like the SM. Well, I didn't want to do it because it seemed like RNG. Like there were certain things that could really foul you up. And I don't like RNG. I don't like I don't like rolling the dice. And yeah. Because it's really embarrassing when you're like carrying a group and then you're like dying once or twice. And I swear it's not my fault. I just didn't get the right resist or whatever.
And some people are jerks, are jerks about it. I'm just like, just be happy you found somebody to do it. Like,
I have a mob counter, and you didn't pull every single mob in the instance.
Yeah. I only got 283 on that one. I'm going to need a refund.
Okay, Karen.
Right. Oh, God.
Anyway, to circle back, I met my guild in Era, which is the best guild that I've ever been in. And I would almost say that that's when my love for the game was rekindled. I knew that Classic was going to be for me. I quit after BFA as soon as Classic dropped. I haven't touched retail since. And I fell in love with the guild and with people that were in the guild. And it's been a great ride. And just played mage until KT died. And once KT died, I found hardcore, and I've been playing hardcore ever since. So
never went on to TBC,
huh? There was a rumor that WoW tokens were going to be dropped. And as soon as the rumor came out that WoW tokens were going to be dropped, I said, see you later. Like my mage. That rumor was there,
but I mean, we went all through TBC without it, though.
I was so ticked off. My mage that I grinded for the Blade of Eternal Darkness has a special place in my heart. It just logged off in some random place in Netherstorm. It hasn't moved since that day that I got so ticked off about hearing about the WoW token that I just logged off.
See, I thought I liked TBC a lot more than I actually did. Going back, I realized it's like I love Wrath and I love Vanilla, and then TBC's way down here, way down there. I don't know, the whole sci-fi meets Tolkien, it's not really me. I don't know. I don't know.
I love Nagrand. I think everybody.
Nagrand is awesome. It's
great.
Any place where Hemet Nessingbury is generally pretty good. You're telling me, Bob, you didn't like the Exodar? It's like the best city in the game, right?
Oh no, yeah. There I do get lost. You talk about Moradon, that's fine, but Exodar, I'm like, how the hell do I get out of here? Well, that's cool. All right, well, Hap, what about you? Give us a little background on you.
Still same guy.
Track.
That's the second, third time he's going to do that at least 5 more times.
I'm honored. I'm honored if I get called Hap. That's good. He's a good GM. So
that's too much.
So let's see. Where was I when WoW came out? So I was already in the military. I thought I was way too cool being a young military guy to play WoW. So I was too cool to play it, and I didn't. And that's one of my biggest regrets to this day, because I really think that I lost the big essence of the game, which was that early exploration where nobody knew anything about the game. There was no meta, there was no min-max, there was no questy, there wasn't, you get together on Thoughtbot and try to figure out
forums, tons of forum stuff.
Yeah, forums, right? The quest that makes me sad the most, I think, that I missed out on was, and as part of the Oni attunement, right? When you get that piece after jailbreak, and it's like, hey, you need to take and find somebody who knows something about this amulet, and the only clue is that they exist, right? Who the hell would think to go into a cave in Winter Spring and step on a teleporter, assuming you made it that far, and then get up to the top of that thing and then talk to this person, right? The chance of finding that is so crazy, and that's what I think I'm the most sad that I missed out on by not participating in 2004. So
it was magical. I remember perfectly the first day I walked into Dead Mines, and I hadn't heard anything about it, and we got to the ship, and I was like, we're Goonies never say die.
Yes.
I was so excited.
That's my cat's name.
Yeah. It was, so you definitely missed out. It's a bummer because it was,
well, there wasn't
I'm
any
getting
like
goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, there's no standard spec. Like people didn't know how to gear as much.
I was just like Hap. I was a mage with a bunch of agi because I wanted to be a battle mage. Like I even would fight with my sword. Like it was worthless.
Yeah, why else do I have it? But it's like it's what cracks me up, right? Like you have a guy or gal who's, I'm the quintessential tank, so I'm gonna wear plate gear. And I'm a hunter, so I'm probably gonna roll in the mail gear. And I know that was when the Huntard thing came to be because hunters could wear everything and they kind of started that. But now if you look at, the meta building and defining comps and how many warriors we're bringing to raids, like warrior's kind of the new hunter. And I'm going to go out there and just throw it out there, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I need this for my flask set. And I need this for, DPS, even though it's leather and I'm going to gank it from the rogue. And I'm going to use daggers because, attack speed, I need that fast attack speed in my main hand to keep that up. So like it cracks me up how the meta has shifted, but nobody's willing to say publicly because, you can't warrior shame because they're your best tanks. You can't be like, yeah, warriors suck. Like they don't, but it's just funny how the meta has changed so much.
Would it make you mad if I told you that my warrior on Era, I just got on to show stream the other day, but my healing set, my diamond flask set ticks for over 600 each tick.
Oh, I love that. As a healer, I'm a paladin main, right? I love the fact that my tanks are healing themselves, and I think that it's awesome that people figure out. Like it's so cool how many people are in the game that have such big brains and can really dissect this and figure that stuff out. Like when you look at like a guy like Simonize for rogues, and he's figuring this stuff out and just completely going off script and like making things happen based on theory crafting. It's amazing to see these people do it, and so I love it. And my hat's off to him. But yeah, so I'm real sad that I missed the early expansions. I didn't start playing until Classic, and so that's why your podcast is huge because it's all Classic, right? There's no retail. I started I think in retail for about 35 minutes. I had a mount and was like level 400 and had like 8 million gold, and I was like, I don't know what's going on in the story. So going back to Classic, I started played a prop warrior and leveled as prop because I didn't know any better. Because again, I was going for that authentic experience. Got to level 54, was all pumped. I got Lionheart Helm plans and Titanic Leggings plans, and I was like, man, I'm in a good spot. And then my whole guild was like, yeah, we're gonna go play Horde now. And so,
oh wow,
he stayed at 54 until Wrath. But then then played TBC as a Holy Paladin. Played Wrath as a Holy Paladin, where I'm still playing today with Regression over in Old Blanchy. Great group of folks.
Nice.
Or got him now. We merged with another guild, got him. So, but great group of folks. So yeah, we're loving it. We're clearing content, but we're not, overly sweaty or try hardish, but we like to try to, clear all heroic content.
Nice. Very cool. And
cool.
Hap. Okay. Like what's your like hardcore experience? When did you start? And, do you have any 60s?
I was 59. And I had all of the cloth in my bags.
No!
For the turn-ins. And my mind told me that the Eastern Plaguelands tunnel was in a different patch. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'll just shortcut through this tunnel.
Oh, wow.
As a priest, there are Nerubian spiders in there that are undead. So they're immune to fear. They, for some reason, were immune to shackle. They web, and there's a giant queen spider in there that freaked me out. So I turned and I started running out, and I aggroed like 2 or 3, 4 of these Nerubian spiders. So now I'm a priest with these 4 things that are immune to basically everything that I can do to peel off of me. And they're chain netting me, and I can't dispel the net. And so I'm literally just sitting here, and I can heal through it. My mana is slowly going down, very, very slowly. So I'm basically just healing myself for 5 minutes. But I can't move. I can't go anywhere. I literally am getting chain netted. And my only prayer is that someone will come by and save me. But no one in their right mind goes to that tunnel.
Yep.
Except me.
100%.
So there's no one coming. There's no one coming. Me.
So was this in Psalm or in Era, like after Psalm, or?
I think that was my Psalm character.
See, Mel and I, on our duo, I was a druid, she was a priest. We were there did that last quest there. We were at 59. We needed to get all the way back. And she was like, well, why don't we just cut through the cave and just go to, like, it'll be so much quicker to go turn in to Tyrion. And I was like, you're freaking crazy. And like, she was like, really like adamant. I was like, have you not watched F's and chat? You know how many people die here?
It is the most dangerous cave. And it would be on F's and chat 100 times more if more people went in there. It's not a cave, it's a tomb.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's no heat map because people are smart enough to know not to go in there. Except there's one little green or orange trail where Hap went through at one point.
Yeah.
I would have been there with you.
My other most infamous
Harrison Ford, I love that name. Sorry.
My most infamous death was back in March or April. A lot of people have seen it. The troll priest that farmed harpies for 3 hours for vibrant plumes for the Dark Moon Fair. Well, I got all these feathers, right? And so I don't need all these feathers. So I go to the vendor and I vendor what I think is, a couple stacks of light feather. Well, what I didn't know is that I vendored all of my light feathers. So I flew to Free Wind Post and I go, I'll just take a shortcut and I just farmed all of these light feathers. I'll just levitate down to wherever I need to go. Well, unbeknownst to me, I had sold all of my light feathers and my screams of sheer pain when I jumped off of Free Wind Post have become a meme. In fact, so much that now my guild mates send me light feathers in the mail. Like I'll go to my mailbox and I'll just have like 2 pages of light feathers of people just
he can't
sending
get anything he buys off the auction house until he clears out the light feathers in his inbox.
Oh my God.
Wonderful.
If you YouTube light feather fail, it's literally the top hit.
It's kind of like
that feels so bad too.
When he jumped off and he thought he would bubble, but he didn't have bubble on his bar.
Oh my God. Opening spellbook mid-fall. That'd be great.
Oh, man.
I know. Bobby says things to me too. Like one time I was out of light feathers because I just, it's classic. You don't have the bag space to carry 100 light feathers on you. And we were walking across water, so it wasn't the end of the world. It's just annoying. But he was like, no, you really don't like check to see, like, doesn't it show you that you have or don't have light feathers? And I'm like, yeah, it shows me. And I can look down there now and see that there's a 0 there. But I don't religiously look at my bars to be like, oh God, do I have enough light feathers? Like, I'm the person in Wrath that's like,
enough.
Hey, Bob.
That's the problem.
It only takes once. And I will tell you, I was on my last priest run, and I stood too close to the edge in Booty Bay. And what people don't know is that if you AFK on the edge, the boat will come and it will clip you on the side of the boat. Mm-hmm. And then when you zone in to the next place, it will drop you in fatigue. So my priest got dropped into fatigue, and the only way that I saved myself was levitate. Like I would not have been able to get out of fatigue area without levitate.
How fast is your heart racing at that point, though, right? You're like, come on.
Just a tip, though. We gave this last week, but we should give it again. If anybody has that happen to them, or you DC while on a flight path, do not log. Just like if you're in fatigue, log out. If you DC on a flight path, do not log back in. Log in on a different character. Go to help. Go to character stuck option. Unstick your character, bada bing, bada boom, saved. Like that saved a buddy of mine who said it in stream chat, and I was like, log out now. I'll tell you what to do next. Just log out now. And it saved him. Like, so yeah. those boats and flight paths are scary, man. Like, it's so funny because I'm like, do I want to take the flight path in AFK? I should probably watch this. Like, I don't know.
Like, let me take my chances on Ragnaros. The boats and the AFK shouldn't be a boss. Although I think there was one guy who trolled somebody on the Zeppelins, right? And I'm sure he probably got banned for it at this point, but he was on the Zeppelin flying from, I think, Undercity area to Ogremar. And he's like, I've been playing this game for 17 years and I never knew that numlock opens all my bags at once. And so all you see is, like 4 people on the boat start auto running off the side because they press numlock, which is the auto run key. That's
man.
And just you just see the death log pop up.
His cackles were so gold. It was so funny.
That's like the old emote. You've been flagged for AFK. Please type /AFK to unflag. And people just like 20 of the 40 people in Ultric Valley just disappear.
You just watch your raid frame shrink in AV. Yes, so good.
Oh my goodness.
Because and it's always the guilty people, right? The people who are there just to AFK or to level up fishing while you're trying to do AV.
Yeah. Like, I'm not AFK.
Yeah, I'm actively fishing. I'm not AFK.
Yeah.
So you don't have any 60s then?
I do not.
But you've gotten close a lot. And you just recently died at 55, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I had to go to work and I was just like, I'm only like 4 mobs from where I need to go. I'll just like run through them and like get there. No problem. I'll just outrun them because I'm mounted, right? In Anderhall. So the first one dazed me, dismounted me. He blast waved. Now I got 2 others on me. They're shadow bolting from the side. And target dummy. A dummy deployed as dummy. And that didn't stop him because shadow bolts are still flying.
What were you?
And a priest.
Priest, okay.
Yeah, those shadow bolts. Whew.
They chunk.
They'll take your shield real fast.
Do any of them mana burn? I felt like I ran out of mana like really fast.
Yes, the ones by Araj do.
I'm sure I had one of those on me. I don't know.
I rarely play mana classes, so I'm not sure.
I was so disgusted.
Yeah, it's like our blue rage bar, Bob.
I was so disgusted I just logged out and went to work. I was steaming.
Oh,
so
nothing's worse than dying like 55 plus, right? Like
Mad Season just died on his hunter at 55.
So we have a badge system in our Discord. So like if you hit 60 on a specific class, you get like a little emoji that like pops up every time you chat. Or we have a flip leader badge where one of the guys in our guild flipped on hit. We were keeping track of whoever had the flip record for Night Elf, and he flipped 17 times, which is 1 short of the world record. What? And so he has a little clover that's by his name forever, and we just have like all these different things. And I just made the new badge that's if you die at 50 plus and you re-roll and you hit 60. You get the little boomerang emoji by your name.
Let's be real. Nice. Hap just wants a badge.
I just want I gotta get a badge somehow. I mean,
that's good.
I got officers over here that have like medals from their neck down to
looking like North Korean generals.
Yeah, and then the GM, he's got a founder badge. Ooh, founder, yeah.
Hey, you started the whole thing, so goes for something.
What about you, Track? Like hardcore background?
Yeah, so I started playing during the unofficial with the add-on. Killed a lot of hunters, and that was a good time. And then once they announced, I never got anything to 60 in unofficial. And then once they announced the officials were coming, I stopped playing unofficial, to be honest, other than to hop back on and reset up my bars and make sure I was good for when it launched. But so I have a 60 paladin now and pushing up Peacebloom. holy, obviously, because that's all you get to do at 60. So if you go ret, you're a meme, and if you go prot, like that's hilarious.
Yep.
And then, try being a tank with no taunt. See how far that gets you. Then I'm leveling my backup paladin. So which I think is kind of a cool, different thing that happens in hardcore that doesn't really happen in non-hardcore servers, right? Like you level one paladin, you generally are not going to need another paladin unless you're like, I just want one to be, maybe whatever range it is to AoE farm in some place and boost people, or I want a niche reason to have another duplicate of a character. But here it's like, well, might as well start leveling my backup paladin for the day when this one inevitably dies, that I can just roll right back in and not let the guild down for that much longer, So
I'm the weirdo on Wrath that raids on 2 different rogues, though.
Oh, but you've got 2 different raid groups you're running with. Yeah, we have a guy X. I
just wanted more practice, really, on the rogue.
Locks.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. The raids go by so fast now. Like, was my deal. Like, I was just like, I only get to practice these bosses, parsing like once, like, every week. So I was just like, I just want more practice. But
can we just stop for a moment and appreciate the new mode opening up all of these different ways to play the game too? Because now there is a reason to have a 35 alt or a warlock in a random spot. Or even like I could see people twinking at 59 to help their guildies in dungeons, instead of hitting 60, and now you can't do that.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Yeah, it's neat.
There's so many different metas that could totally be like, especially within a smaller guild, like you need extra tunes, and it's just there's always something to do, and it's not a forced thing to do. It's not like, I got to log on and do dailies or weeklies or whatever. Yes. I get to log on and I get to do what I want, and I get to choose my own adventure. And I think that is, I felt that with solo self-found, but I felt it even more with opening up the game. So
I think we appreciate it more because we played solo self-found though, right?
Right.
I feel like if your first experience with hardcore is like in this hardcore server, it's a totally different experience, because all of us that did solo self-found with the app, like we're like, oh my God, I've never done this quest because I couldn't make a true silver bar. So now I could just buy one off the auction house, and this is crazy. And like I can group up. Yeah, it does.
I'm not an alchemist, but yet I have all these potions going at all times because I can do that.
Yep.
Yeah, so, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Bobby. Bobby has like 12 like buffs every time we go out.
I feel naked
like, do you need any
him.
buffs? And I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, every time I buy something off the auction house, I feel like I'm 16 again, sneaking out of the house.
Right? You gotta go grab it before somebody notices.
Yeah, I don't want to get called out by one of these, hardcore Andes or purists who are like, nope, you're off my books. That's not allowed.
See, I mean, I think like it's just a different thing. Like, I mean, I think it's cool. But like when someone says, comes in now and is using the auction house and they make comments like hardcore is not hard, I'm like, okay, dude, come on. Like it is hard. It's just a little, it's different, like it's, easier, but like at the same time, then like you're also out of money. But what does kind of suck is like, solo self-found, you'd use white weapons, like because they were way better than any of the greens that were dropping for you currently, and stuff like that. And like now, like it's pretty crazy to not go get a weapon if you're not doing solo self-found. If you're playing a class that the weapon matters,
that
like
needs a weapon, or warrior leveling.
Yep.
But that's what's so great about what they did with the mode is that like you can add all that stuff on to yourself if you want, right? But it's not forced on you. So you're getting a lot more people in the game, and
maybe, a ton more.
Maybe they didn't want to run right into solo self-found, but now that they did it once, they got to 60 on a semi-hardcore tune. If people, purists want to go that route, well, now they're maybe challenged to go do that, and so you're bringing more people into the game, which is what makes the game great. It's not about one person doing something that's crazy and ridiculous and that being it and the metric. And if you don't hold up to that, then you're nothing. It's about getting as many people invested in a game to keep the developers interested in pushing content, right? Like you want to make the game successful because you like it, because you want to see more of it.
Well, and it's obviously like it's made it like it was popular. It was a popular mode prior, but they've made it nuts. Like, I mean, I took a screenshot of Stormwind and Booty Bay
buff times
day before yesterday, and during the buff time, and I'm like, I'm just on one of 9 layers on one of 4 servers, and there are hundreds of people standing right here, and there's probably hundreds standing on each layer on 100%. One of 4 servers. Like, it's
and all of them are casting
nuts.
Hellfire and Blizzard.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And my thing is, like, I got a decent computer. It's awesome. It's awesome, but I'm dropping down to like 15 frames a second when that's happening on a 20-year-old game. I'm like, holy cow, there's a lot going on with this. And
yeah, well, and another tip, if you guys, even if you're not going to get the buffs, know when buffs are going out and log out or get to a safe place, because the servers, I mean, we had a friend die from the servers hiccup, and they were in Dark Shore just killing one of the cats. It, like, when they came back from the server hiccup, they were dead, you know, and it's just like, be careful, because those put the server to the test right there. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's a stress test for sure.
Well, to go back to what you were saying, Track, you were talking about how, like, I don't think you finished your thought on how it was cool to be working up a backup character. Because, like, I feel like a lot of people are going to do that if they start end game raiding, just so they're close to getting back if they need to.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the big things about the game that draw a lot of different people, is because there's so much. You determine in hardcore what your end game is, right? Is getting to 60 your challenge and you're done? Great, congratulations when you hit 60. I wish the best. Is in game raiding what you want to do? Is maybe just knocking out the tier 0.5 quest line, because that's challenging in and of itself is what you want to do. So for me, and I think for a lot of the pup folks, we have an ambition to in-game raid. But, you know, we're not a sweaty try-hard guild, and that's good. I think that's a good thing, and that's what brings a lot of people to us. But with that being said, there's going to be times where we're going to make mistakes on relatively simple raids like Molten Core or even ZG Trash, which can be deadly. So
oh god, ZG is scary, man.
It is. So, you know, my thing is, I have the time now because I've hit 60 and we're waiting for some other folks to get there, is that I can start leveling something else up so that I can either, as an armor smith, if I get a good plan that I don't want to lose for the guild, I can just retire that character and sub my other one in. Or if I die for whatever reason because I'm a dummy and I pull thread as a holy paladin, which, you know, can happen, then I'm ready to go again, and I'm not hampering the guild, because it takes a while, and, you know, you're trying to organize 40 people to get together for something when that's not our profession, right? We're not those guilds that, you know, are able to do that as their job, which is great. I mean, I love watching them, and it's awesome to see how they execute content, and we want to try to emulate them as best we can in execution, but we might not have the meta defining comp, because at the end of the day, maybe we didn't get X number of warriors and X number of rogues to get up there, right? Maybe we have, you know, 48 feral druids that are ready to go, and we're like, well, all right, I guess we're going to try this, you know? So that's going to be fun, right?
Nice.
Did you ever die on your current character?
I'm sorry, say that again, Mel?
Did you ever die leveling your current character up?
No. Knock on wood. I died plenty in the unofficial, but my current 3 paladins are all okay.
Let's talk about your close call, though, because I think that's a great story.
All right. So we had a close call, and then we had another close call, which resulted in the death of one of our world class caliber tanks in Clevis, and rest in peace, Clevis.
Oh, poor Clevis.
And as the holy paladin, right? All right. So again, we're going to go talk about, you know, military stuff, right? There's all sorts of things with the military, but like survivor's guilt is a real thing. But then survivor's guilt in hardcore, I did not expect to be a real thing either. But as the holy paladin, when your tank dies in a dungeon and you were able to get out because of the sacrifices they made or because of what they did, and that sucks, you know,
yeah.
like, because
being the tank sucks, dude.
That's a person's time that you just wasted. So It's really tough.
It's a little easier when it's your husband,
be the first to die.
Just so you know, like that survivor's guilt goes away real fast after.
She's BSing though, because like I remember when my 27 died, and she was like the whole night she was like, "I'm sorry." She was like rubbing my shoulders, like she's lying. She felt bad.
Oh, well, it's the third time your character had died and mine had survived. So I was really feeling like a bad healer.
What's the common denominator in all three of Bob's deaths? It's probably Bob. It may be alcohol.
It's Bob telling Mel to run, staying back, hamstringing things, and then the druid. I went back for the mage, and the mage would have been fine. The mage was the one that butt pulled too. Like I went back, like you even see on my clip. Like I tell her to run, and I start to run, and then I'm like, I stop, and I come back, and I like taunt off of the guys, and then I come running out, and then it was too late at that point.
Blinks past him and is like, "Peace out, dude."
Yeah, thanks for grabbing the aggro. I'm out. See y'all later.
So the Clevis incident has a lot more details.
Let's hear it.
Totally being left out. So in the clip, very slowly, very small, you have to pay really close attention. Tiny little cockroach walking so slowly. It's just strolling, and they're fighting this mob in LBRS. And then it gets closer and closer and closer. All of a sudden, you see the hunter pet screech, and then you see this cockroach like a bat out of hell. He flies off the right of the screen, and all of a sudden,
it's linked. I've heard about this.
Social aggro. The cockroach pulled another mob, and then they try and recover. One guy runs, and then it aggroed another set. So now they're running. And unfortunately, in the escape, Clevis, rest in peace, Clevis. But
man,
so we have a particular hate for cockroaches in our guild. But
and in my moment of grief, Hap decides to gift me with a pet cockroach that he had gotten one of our friends over on the Horde side to smuggle over on the auction house. So I now have a pet cockroach that I have to carry around and unleash in all dungeons for shame. And I'm surprised, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know social aggro on a cockroach was a thing.
You just I've seen it on Fs. You just reminded me. Now I'm like, okay, well, I'm to turn names of
critter nameplates on. And
critters back on.
There's a weak aura that I got from one of your frontier mates who was like, "Hey, cockroach aggro weak aura." I'm like, why does this need to be a thing, right? Like, there are,
right.
I know a lot of people are like hashtag no changes, but like, I would take a cockroach aggro change. But
I do that weak aura.
I'll send it to you for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. But the best thing is that Tracksuit is also part of what we call the Tracksuit Mafia in our guild, and Tracksuit Mafia is responsible for our invites. So basically, someone posts in our Discord in a channel, and then the Tracksuit Mafia is like the bouncers for our guild, and they're responsible for getting people into our guild. And so now we have the leader of the Tracksuit Mafia is obviously Tracksuit. And I just love the idea that the Tracksuit Mafia boss has a pet cockroach for.
Yeah,
only because Clevis sleeps with the fishes now.
Well, I just realized. Gosh. Well, let's talk about pushing up Peacebloom. We didn't. I don't think we actually mentioned the name on the show. We're talking about the guild. The guild is pushing up Peacebloom on Defias Pillager, so Alliance. So yeah, give us a little bit about the guild, because it's a pretty big guild. It's pretty friendly from what I've seen. Because for anybody who doesn't know, my other tune is in PUP. So I've been enjoying it a lot.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Back in April, I was in Countdown, which was like a guild that was created because of the Countdown to Classic podcast.
Yep.
It was the guild that I said that rekindled my love for the game. And when Hardcore came around, they were still pushing Wrath, and it felt kind of weird to be promoting or trying to sell people on like Hardcore in that server. And so I said, well, let's just do like a Hardcore event where people try to level up together. And I'll create like just a private Discord or whatever. And probably like maybe like 15, 20 people joined. And then I also played in like SOM. And so people that were in Bravo Bears, that's where I met a bunch of people from Bravo Bears. They had like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. They had like a bunch of different guilds. I happened to be in Bravo. And so I had some of them join because it was like an event where like, oh, we'll just do dungeons all the way up and we'll cap out at each weekend and then, you know, we'll go up. So that it kind of grew to like maybe like 80 members. And then official was announced and I'm like, okay, well, let's just make this a thing and we'll roll a guild together. And then we voted on what faction we were going to roll, and Alliance won by 4 votes. And a lot of us were career Horde people, so that this is a new experience for a lot of us.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, and then it kind of grew to like maybe 150 people in the Discord, and we had to kill time in July because it was like the dog days where like people were not playing hardcore because official's coming out and we got to save time.
Yep.
And so we came up with this idea of a guild name competition. So we had people submit names. We had 19 submissions, and I was thinking to myself, well, let's make an event out of it. So we did a 10-round group stage where each name would like pair off against each other. And then at the end of the 10 rounds, the top 3 seeds from each group would pair off in a tournament. So every 2 days we would have head-to-head matchups with these names. And there was a bunch. There was One Feather Short to make fun of me. There was Anti-Spelunking Society, which the acronym turns into ass. And then there's like Darwin Awards. There was Is in Danger. There's just a bunch of different names. And Pushing Up Peacebloom was my submission. Is a play on Pushing Up Daisies, which is a euphemism for death, obviously. Yep. And it was fortunate enough to end up winning the competition. 3,600 votes were cast for the guild name. So and it took about a month for the name, and so we're really proud of the name, and I think it's been a big boon for our guild because there's been people that have joined the guild like, I just like the name. So yeah, it's a good name. It's built on people that have known each other for 6 years or more. I have people that have known each other for 12 years in the guild, and yeah. And so then we started recruiting. We started recruiting for official, and I put out a newspaper that I edit. It's called the Peacebloom Press, and it kind of took off a little bit, and people really seemed to enjoy it and have joined the guild because of that. And our Discord blew up within 2.5 weeks. We went from 150 members to probably around 700 members.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. We used to have this thing called the Cub Connector program, where and we called it the Cub Connector program because our friend Barrison Ford was in charge of it, and he's like all into bear. Like he RPs as a bear. He's really excited that he's a bear.
Pretty
he's
sure
like,
he streams in a full bear suit. Or it could just be his hairy body. I don't know.
Yeah. But so we were actually originally having people DM people that would join our server and be like, hey, thanks for joining. And, you know, it would be personal, you know, like you join our guild, and we get a personal connection with people. But over that 2.5 weeks, we found that systems that work for 150 Discord, they do not work for 700 people joining the Discord within 2 weeks. So yeah, but it's a guild it's built on a really good core of people that have the same type of values of, you know, a moderated chat, people that are friendly to each other, people that have genuine connection with each other. And there's some people that are world-class raiders that used to push world first stuff that are in our guild too. I mean, just because we are a community-based guild does not mean that we are not solid players. I don't think I've ever had a bad run with anybody in the guild, being a knucklehead. I think that's the biggest thing, is like people genuinely like each other, so they don't want to cause anything that would cause a casualty within our runs. So
have you had any? Has the Trackzuit Mafia had to put out a hit on any problem members yet? I'm sure if that big, you've had to, right? Like,
yeah. I think the first week, day 3, and if feel free to interrupt me, Tracksuit, anytime. We had a mass inviter come in, and we are not like a mass invite guild. Like we say, everyone is welcome in our guild, but not everyone is welcome in our guild.
You need to at least join the Discord, do the proper things, read the start, Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And I think just having that filter has really, really helped like the community of our guild. I would say if I was a guild leader, if I was recommending anything to someone that is a guild leader, have a standard for joining your guild and hold that standard sacred. Do not, even if it means losing out on potential recruits, because we've lost out on potential recruits because they just say, I don't want to join your Discord. Like, okay, well, that's the standard for joining our guild. Like, I'm sorry. Like, but the positives of having a filter for our guild have greatly exceeded anything that we've lost out on in our opinion. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, we're definitely, a quality over quantity guild. Obviously we have a lot of members, and that's very fortunate, but the members that we have are quality. So they've gone through, agreeing to our community guidelines, which, seems simple. You click on it every time you go into somebody's Discord generally, and you're like, yeah, whatever. But it's something that's enforced too, though, right? And so we've had the Tracksuit Mafia's had to put some hits out and take some people out of the guild, or we didn't really have to take them out. Like, we just confronted them and said, hey, the behavior you exhibited in guild chat isn't consistent with our community guidelines. We'd like to remind you, here's a warning that.
Which is great.
Be a good human being, and we'll be fine. And they just left, and they're like, whatever, you suck. All right, fine.
See, and I've been in guilds where people are just horrible people and say like bad things, but they're really good players, so they keep them around, and I hate that. But sorry,
it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it at all. And similarly, there's some loss that is associated with that, right? Like Hap said, sometimes people won't join. Okay, that's all right. Or even still, like, we're a smaller community guild, so some people take a little bit longer to get to level, and we don't have as many in-game dungeon groups going right now. And somebody gets to 60 and they're like, well, there's not enough content here, so I'm out. I'm going to go to this other guild. All right. And there's no harm, no foul, right? We wish them well. We hope they succeed. Like we said earlier, everybody has a different thing they want to get out of the game. And if they're paying their money for their subscription and want to go and, not waste their time and get into a guild that's already pushing in-game content, great. We wish them all the success. But, we want people to stick around because they want to stick around and because they have fun with the community, and we want them to raid as a community. So we're really looking forward to our day when we can actually do that.
Yeah, we have a saying that we have easy on ramps and easy off ramps. You're welcome in our guild. If you want off the ramp, you're welcome to go that route, and you're always welcome back. But imagine the feeling that you're going to get when you get to experience the content with the people that are, for a fact, 100% are ride or die. They will DI you. Mm-hmm. Like, they will throw themselves in front of the fray for you. I think that's so much better than let's blow the whistle and charge the line of a machine gun, and whoever ends up on the other side, that's who we'll raid with.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, that's personally how I've done all of Classic. Like, I found a really cool guild, and like the the raid leader is just like one of the coolest guys I've ever met. And like, he's actually he's younger than me, but he's so impressive. He's made me a better person over the years that I have known him. Like, and like, I just love it, and we're not on the cutting edge. We clear everything, but we're not on the cutting edge. Like, we killed Algalon like week 6, and I like that. Like, I like playing with people that I like, and and it being less like people yelling at you and stuff like that. Like,
for sure. But I want to experience the content with the group. I don't want to go into PTRs and beat our heads against things just so that we can run out the gate and be first
and throw the blame game at everybody.
Yeah, and there are guilds that do that because they want to be world first, and my hat's off to them. I just really like the shared struggle with a group is what bonds people. So, you're in a guild, but people are into guilds for different reasons. But some people are in a guild to get that social aspect and develop friendships that last, and that you learn that through mutual suffering of wiping on Mim hard mode for 14 times in a row. Before you
Well, you talked about the guild, a lot of the guild leadership being ex military, and some people might take that as the drill sergeant type of thing, like, and you do your job and follow orders. But I don't think that's how you guys operate, and I think that's a common thing people think that just isn't true of ex-military. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
My personal thing is that we want reasonable people, people that can reason, and that's one thing in the military that you have to do with other people is explain the pros and cons of something, and then make a decision. But once you make a decision, you have to live with that decision. For instance, we are weighing the pros and cons of our Discord invite system. But once we have a system and we implement that system, we pull the trigger on that system, then we're going to have to live with the cons of missing out on some of these recruits. Or I don't always pull the trigger, but when I pull the trigger, it's pulled. It's done.
Commit to it.
I'm not going to go back and worry about what coulda, shoulda, whatever. I'm going to weigh the pros and cons before. I'm going to take as many different opinions as I possibly can from as many different perspectives. But once I pull the trigger because of my reasoning, then that's the reasoning that I've made. And that's how we're going to go about things.
Nice. Very disciplined.
I hope so. And yeah. I hope that decisions that are made in the guild are not hasty. Like, we were not one of the first guilds that said we're rolling on Defias. It took members were really hounding, what server are we going to be on? What server are we going to be on? And I was like, we don't have to make this decision like right away. Like, let's give it like at least 6 to 8 hours. We're aligned with 2 other guilds, and one of them is led by an Aussie, and he's sleeping right now. And so I haven't talked with him. So until he wakes up and he talks with me, I'm not going to announce any decision. Like, that's just, it is what it is. And I think people start to realize that you don't have to make a decision right away unless it's a cockroach situation where you have to make a decision right away.
That's too soon, man.
Too soon. Oh, man. Well, I do want to talk about your son a little bit because I think it's amazing. Is he going to be around anytime soon?
Yeah, would you like to meet him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mel's been dying here.
Wait, what's his name? I'll ask.
His gamer name, he goes by Zeke.
Okay.
He's so talented. It's ridiculous.
And he's been playing for some months now. He's 6 years old, and his latest character was not solo self-found. He did get bags, and he got a weapon, things that any player would get. But he reached level 18 on his paladin.
Nice.
Hey.
So when I first met Hap, when I joined Pup, Hap and Zeke were running as a duo. Hap was a priest, Zeke was a rogue, and Zeke just wanted to PvP Hap all the time. Dad, duel me, and Hap, being a great dad, would stop and duel him in a safe spot, and Zeke would whoop his ass every time. he plays rogue really well. It was impressive to see.
That's awesome.
Hap's really bad at a priest, but I like to think that Zeke's really good.
Oh, you know.
Hap's locked up over here.
Yeah, he's locked up on my screen as well.
I wonder, can you hear us, Hap? Uh-oh.
Hey, Zeke took down the internet. Pulling his rogue moves over there.
Snuck in, gouged him.
Gonna stealth pop up here in a second.
Uh-oh. I wonder what happened. It says he's still in. I wonder if he just needs to
probably sitting there talking to us like,
leave
these
and
guys
go
are
back
really
in.
rude, not talking back to me.
So
like,
I think his camera feed is through like a browser source that he does. So maybe it messed up in his OBS or something.
Oh, I don't know if he could hear us or not. Did you hear us, Hap? Well, I think
there he goes.
I think he's going back out and trying to come back in. I'm hoping. Sorry for the delay. I don't know. We can talk about something. Anything else you want to add about pushing up Peacebloom while we're waiting for him to pop back in?
Excuse me. No, it's we're fortunate we've landed with a good guild, a good group of folks. Like Hap said, everybody's welcome, but not everybody's welcome if they don't just go around going in the right way. So if anybody ever wants to join, Discord is simple, https://discord.gg/pushinguppeacebloom. Luckily we got a lot of nice people in the guild to boost that up so we can get that custom cool name. But come in, invite. If you're on Defias Pillager Alliance, love to have you and level with us together. We do a lot of events right now. I think we had a guild reroll night yesterday. I think
I saw that. Yeah.
And then we have simultaneous with that, we're running a Dead Minds Dash. So the first group of 5 freshies from the Federation that get leveled up and get through Dead Minds, we're all giving them subscription cards and stuff. So
nice.
It's just some fun events. Just trying to keep the community going, which is the best part of it all.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So explain the guild reroll thing, because I saw that, but I don't know, when I get I got my 2 characters and I got blinders on, I'm going,
Yeah, for sure. So basically on the guild reroll, it's a lot of people get a little demoralized when they lose a character, especially if it's high level or if they've had repeated losses over the course of a certain amount of time. So what we did is we're just like, hey, let's make a guild reroll night where a bunch of guildies will get together and we'll all roll fresh ones and help each other out as we go. Somebody's contributing a bunch of bags. Somebody's contributing, some food, some potions, some weapons. It's kind of a community event. And then for those people who kind of felt like they were behind the power curve because they died and had to start back over and didn't have anybody to level with, it was just a way to bring some people back up and get that sense of community going again, which I think was beneficial. We had
that's cool.
Quite a few people re-roll, and of that, of course, some more people died en route for that again. It wouldn't be hardcore if we didn't have that.
Right.
We still haven't had anybody finish the Dead Minds Dash yet, so we're hoping today that somebody will clear that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a good event.
Dude, those first 20 levels are rough, man. I keep telling people.
That's the thing. People underestimate how difficult the early levels are because you don't have your whole toolkit, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing, survivability post 40, if you die post 40, it's generally on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Either you got overconfident and pulled something too crazy, or you went in an area you shouldn't have been, or
you went too quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. But pre 40, you might be missing a lot of key skills that help you out. So, 40-ish, somewhere around 40 is the halfway point experience wise and time wise. But I think surviving to 40 is pretty significant. And druids, man, they have it tough. I know they don't get kitty form till 20.
I think it's like 30.
Or
30? No, 20, 20, 20.
20, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Druid, I didn't re-roll Druid because I was like, okay, I can't do that first 20 again right now. I'll do it later, but I can't do it right now.
And if you ever go on the heat map, speaking of your heat map, right? You go into Stormwind and you look at the mage quest area.
Oh, yeah.
The heat map. Oh, my God. Everybody's dead there, right? So
Yep.
You're down there and you're like, oh, like, and that mage is trying to get an important part of their toolkit, but they can't because they're going in too early or without a friend, or they're underestimating the challenge. Same like the rogue tower. People are like, I got the quest at 20. Let me go in there and do that.
At least wait till 22 advantage. Yeah.
Let me give you some more sharpening stones. Well,
it's because of the Z axis. There is no Z axis.
That's right.
The mob could be in a tower the size of heaven, and you're at the bottom, and it can still hit you. You know, it's just nuts.
Exactly.
We have Hap back.
Hey, Hap's back.
Are you able to talk?
I think I'm back. Yeah.
There you go. Yep, you're back.
My whole computer locked up randomly.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We talked about Zeke coming in because we saw the sword. So we're pretty sure he cheap shot gouged you, and that's what took it down.
Got to get a good kidney in there every once in a while.
But it looks like Zeke's going to come over now.
Zeke's like, I'm solo leveling, guys. I don't need
this
party.
We went to a costume place and got him a mask so that we could have him actually on camera this time.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Hey, what's up, Zeke?
Look at him.
They're saying, what's up?
Now he's
That's a cool sword.
Say something. They said that's a cool sword.
Thanks.
Can you hear him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They're asking about your sword. Can you say something? He probably can't hear because
Dad.
How are you?
Good.
You're good. They were asking about you playing the game. Do you like playing the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your favorite class?
Probably Pally, because they were my highest two.
Your highest character?
Highest characters.
And what level did you get?
10 and 18 hardcore.
18
Wow.
hardcore, yeah.
And 10.
Can you tell us about your 18? What happened to him? What was the last thing that happened?
I was sensing I would have died near that lake.
You died near a lake? What were you doing?
Was it Murlocs?
I died right in front.
What were you doing before that, though? Like, what were you doing?
I was killing bulls for their snouts or heads, but then I didn't check. There was 3 ones. Probably 2 of those were yellow, but one of them was red, and then I didn't notice. Then I went to this part of the lake. I tried to get in the water so they couldn't hit me.
Smart.
But then I died.
Yeah. He was
solid strategy.
Was this Lakeshire? It sounds like Lakeshire.
This is Belly Grub. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Belly Grub. Oh,
getting
man.
snouts, and he ran up against Belly Grub.
Oh.
Yeah.
Belly Grub's not elite, but he should be elite. He hits so
100%.
hard.
They're all saying he hits really hard.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
One of his hits
Yeah, Dad.
One of his hits hit him. The other one did like this much damage.
Mm-hmm.
The other did its normal hit.
Yeah.
It was not good.
What's your favorite spell in the game?
That's really tricky.
That's really tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You want to think about it a little bit?
So Hap, while you were off camera, I was telling Bob and Mel about Zeke dueling you all the time in unofficial and whooping you up on his rogue.
Yeah, when I was priest and he was rogue, I could not kill him. I was like, I have to blow marbles at like level 16 on my 6-year-old son just to protect my honor.
Oh, now that is cheap. That is cheap, blowing the marbles.
Yeah. You want to tell him about our duels?
Oh
Tell them about our girls.
Oh, yeah.
You did not have fear.
I did not have fear. Yeah, you're correct.
I kicked his butt.
You kicked his butt?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was like he was a green mob.
Oh man!
Did you hear that?
My dad over
It was like a green mob.
Oh my god!
Fighting my dad is like fighting a gray mob.
Oh, he said
Gray
gray.
mob.
I thought he said
gray?
green.
Oh my god!
Man, we thought he was at least giving you green. Woo.
At the time, he beat me like 3 times in a row or something like that. And he's like, yeah, it's like your level 6 mob. And we were like,
dang,
16 or something like that.
Be like, listen, I'm a priest. I don't have all my toolkit yet. You just wait. Priest rogue. That's not fair, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, whose fault is it that we die in our duos?
It's actually always my dad.
Yeah.
Tracks.
It was never me.
What happened when we went into the Trackzuit cave?
You honestly died first.
Okay, but why did I die?
It was your fault.
You've established that.
Die.
Okay, I healed the wrong guy. Yeah, I lay on hands the wrrong person. So.
Oh no!
Been there.
I just like how you pointed out you died first.
Yeah, and I died, and then he's like, well, as a matter of fact, now I can just die.
That's good stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah. You're a gray mob, Hap. It's amazing.
I'm gonna clip the best line. 100%.
All of his skill and his intelligence and all of that comes from his mom, not from me. So.
Yeah, we've met.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know.
That's pretty impressive, though. I can't even imagine playing at 6.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially hardcore.
First off, I couldn't read at 6 because, product of the Missouri education system. But yeah,
fair.
Playing at 6 is awesome.
Missouri, huh? We're from Kansas City.
I know. I see you wearing your Jayhawk shirt, and it's mildly irritating. I went to Mizzou for a nice year before they kicked me out for similar to Hap. I had a 0.5 GPA, and they were like, "Please don't ever come back to our school." I was like, yeah.
All right.
And then I came back and I got a 4 point after joining the military, and I made Dean's List. But my cumulative GPA was so low that I was on Dean's List and academic probation at the same time.
Come on. Oh man,
that is great.
It's gonna take my head off.
Yeah, no, the sword looks dangerous.
Yeah, we went to Halloween Town yesterday, right before we went to the barber shop. And we stumbled upon this, and I was like, "This is perfect."
You're like, "Yep, that's it."
This is so amazing. Good.
Yeah, I try to let him kind of be a part of the this whole world, but we also like to be safe.
Definitely.
Yeah, make sure we have a mask on him, or don't put him on camera if they show his face. So it's real important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and did you probably monitor in the game too, making sure that people, aren't like talking to them, without supervision and stuff like that. I don't know. I can't
Scary world.
It sounds scary to me. It sounds really scary.
You can turn all that stuff off, though.
Yeah, you can actually turn chat completely off.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And a lot of times he'll be sitting next to me, and he'll be saying something, but he can't type it because he's still learning how to, type and read and stuff.
Because he's 6.
Yeah. And so I'll be typing to the person that's in his group doing the thing with him and be like, "Hey, you're with my 6-year-old." And most of the people have been really, really they don't immediately leave group, because that's what you would think is like, oh, I'm with a 6-year-old and it's hardcore. I'm just going to bail on it. But they've been super receptive to it. And they're like,
it's neat.
I wouldn't even think that he's 6. He's playing better than a lot of people. So, yeah. So
it's super. Yeah, it's super neat. It's just a really neat thing.
Since we're talking about the dynamics of groups, can I add something here that I think has been kind of weird about hardcore?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
This is specifically more geared towards in-game now that Petri flasks are a little bit more prevalent and a lot of people have them. And it has been really weird. And this is why I'm thankful that we have a big guild and, we screen who we screen and they come in and we try to run dungeons together. But there is, with the Petri flask specifically and being hardcore, you never know what somebody's threshold for calling it is, right? And so we did a dungeon. This was a few weeks ago. I think we're doing Strat Live, and we didn't have a ton of 60s in the guild at that time. So we said, hey, we'll pug a DPS because the DPS is pretty safe to pug. We can get one. We got the healer taken care of. We got the tank. We got 2 other DPS. We'll probably be okay. So this individual from a relatively prolific guild comes in, and it's like, yeah, I'll join you. We're like, okay, great. So they join him. We're like, hey, can we get in Discord? Because we want to make sure we have voice comms, even if you don't talk, just as long as we can chat. Okay, sure. Well, then they immediately go, I normally don't pug because, it's too dangerous, but it's cool. I got a Petri flask. And so, because they were in a bigger guild and they had access to that, and that was fine. And we're like, okay. Well, then as we're going through the run, they're proceeding to micromanage everything about the run because they're in a guild named X and we're in a guild named Y. And obviously X is superior to Y. And so they're micromanaging the entire run. But then the whole time I'm thinking, like, what is their threshold for when enough is enough, or a pull that we're comfortable with is a pull that they're not comfortable with, and they Petri and dip. And now we're stuck down 1 DPS trying to deal with the pull that we anticipated as a comfort level for the group that we had. So I find that really interesting. The dynamic in hardcore is those in-game dungeons with pugs. And
I haven't thought about that.
You see it all the time on, if you go to the Defias Discord where people are blacklisting or, doing whatever, calling people out, folks that just dipped in a dungeon, or I think there was the Iranicus fight where the tank gets sleeped because that's what happens, right? And then Iranicus goes on somebody else, and when the tank gets back, he just runs over to a reset spot, hops on there and Petris, and then other people Petri and just leave somebody there to die because you're assuming you kind of got to go in at 50 plus dungeons assuming everybody has Petris and is going to bail on you if you're pugging. And
that's scary.
You got to be prepared. And so that's why it's like such a weird dynamic, which is why I'm 1, grateful I have a guild to run with, but 2, like, you never know what somebody's threshold is in hardcore for preservation of their character. And you can't blame them on one hand, but on the other hand, and it sure is a dastardly thing to do to just leave a group high and dry. It's in a small community where your honor is kind of on the line.
It was really sad because we had a warlock that was like 50 something. And 4 members of their group had Petris, and they all called it, and 4 people Petried, and like, what are you going to do? Like, just basically cut someone out.
I really hate the Petri. I've thought it's like, I've never thought it was cool. I thought, like, I loved watching the hardcore raids until it just turned into Petri Fest, and it's happening now, but they did say they'd keep an eye on it, so hopefully maybe we'll get a change. But I think it takes away a lot, like when you have Petris.
Yeah, and they're getting more affordable and accessible, right? Which is true, but it's still like 35 goldish right now. I think is what Pablo was saying on the chat. But like that's not accessible to a fresh 50 a late 40 who's just got their mount and is feeling good. I mean, when you think about it in terms of does it save your life and your time? Sure, it's accessible and affordable, but it just sucks when you don't know what people's threshold are to use it. And further to that, right? Like, you can't use your Petri, or you can't use maybe if you don't have a Petri because you're like, I got Light of Elune and I'll wait to use Petri or buy Petri till I get Light of Elune. Well, you're committed to a fight, you pot, and now you can't use Light of Elune for 2 minutes, and people decide to Petri. Well, now you're just trying to dance for 2 minutes. So it is really tough. So anytime, I always encourage people, get in voice chat with somebody if you're going to run with them, even if not everybody talks, and then, run with guildies. Even in a guild like Pup, which we're fortunate that we've had a really good community, but a 700 plus person guild, like, even running with other people who you don't know, it's still kind of like pugging to a degree. The difference is you have a standard of accountability because they're in the guild together. So,
right. I think that's the difference, right? And I think it's the same thing for, plugging anything. We got into that one group, and when Bob died, and it was like this mage pulled a bunch of stuff, and Bob tried to stay back to help him, and that mage blinked off and was like, "Forget you, I'm getting out of here," right? And you just
good old Lakeshire elite quests.
Even though your intentions might be to go into that raid and be like, "Hey, I'm putting it all out on the line for everybody in here. Like, if we die, we die together." Except for the rogue and the hunter, obviously they'll live. But other than that, everybody else dies together, and I think that's not the case anymore. I feel like there's a lot of ways to get out that people are like, well, I'm not gonna die for this, so have fun.
So to your point, Mel, like rogues have vanished, hunters have feigned death. So does that should rogue be Thunder Fury Prio because they can probably keep it longer than anybody else?
I don't know.
I don't think rogue should be prio on anything. I don't think rogue should be prio on anything just because they're rogues, right? And
that silence after you asked that question answered the question.
Everything. It said everything.
Yeah. No.
I think they're called rats, right? When you could probably do a fight, but everybody scurries like rats. I actually just created an emote for my channel. It's a little rat with a bubble around it. So,
and it just takes one though, right? It just takes one person to do it, and then everybody else panics too, right? Everybody's like, what am I going to do?
Right?
Yeah, and the last couple of times that I've had like scary instances where there's someone in my group, I'm literally saying out loud, "Don't rat, don't rat, don't rat, hang in there, don't rat." Like, it's because there's people recording everywhere, and it only takes running away and causing a death one time before you get labeled. And all of a sudden, now you're like, no one wants to run with you because you can
climb 1,000 mountains and never be called a mountain climber, but you fuck one goat. You know what I mean?
Oh man! All right, well, I think we should probably move on. Unless there's anything left you wanted to say about the guild, it's pushing up Peacebloom, guys. So if you want to join, it's Deifius Pillager Alliance.
Yeah, we got a lot of great people. I think he went over while I was disconnected the reroll night, so it's not too early or too late to join. And we are definitely looking for people to help our 60s out, push content, because we're getting enough 60s to start doing some regular groups. We need DPS, and we need tanks, and we need people, we need bodies that we can depend on. So
awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, time for the news. All right. So there's not a ton of news, but did want to. So just real quick, the Druid Omen of Clarity change, this came and went all in, a day or two, but they changed the glyph to the glyph that gives you a free proc of Omen of Clarity whenever you use Feral Fairy Fire. They changed it to nerf damage by 5% overall, had it on the PTR for about a day, and reverted it right away. So it's kind of not really news, but it looks like they're still trying to find a way to tweak the Feral Druid DPS. But I play one, and I think it's a little unfair.
Why nerf that? Right? Like you've got, how many do you have in your raid? Maybe right now, right? Like you got one who may be a backup and off tank, and then you got one who's probably just been DPS the whole way through, and then other than that, you got some boomies and some resto druids. So don't take away the thing from the person that's been there the whole time as a druid for you. And then on top of that, they can't wield Shadowmourne, they can't get any cool legendaries this expansion. So just give them their damage. Let them actually pump at the end.
They're so rare that I still remember the one feral druid for our guild back in OG Wrath. His name was Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve. Well, they're becoming less and less rare. Like I run GDKPs with my feral, and there's usually 2 or 3 now, if they can get them in. I mean, we do unbelievable damage. We have a res and we have an innervate. It's, I'll have to res and innervate and still be top 5 on the fight. And that's a huge DPS loss, to have to come out and res and innervate. If you're lucky, you get the proc that gives you the instant res, which is nice. But
every time we're fighting a noob, and the ads are just slightly spaced out, it's always our feral druid that's hey, pull them in just a little bit closer so I can cleave all 5, and to get all 4 ads and a noob. And then they pump. And I think maybe that's the concern, is because ICC is a little bit more trash heavy than, TOGC was and stuff, that they don't want somebody just trivializing the trash on the way to and from. But I mean, don't just straight up nerf a druid who's already been through enough. It'd be like adding another nerf to a warrior at this point. Man, those guys have been through hell since Classic ended. So
I thought the 5% was a little much. I'm sorry, Hap, go ahead.
Oh, it just seems like feral DPS is always all the lights of a loon have to align, and they have to do all of these hoop jumping just to align all of their stuff just right. And then when they do, then they can be 5th on the DPS.
They used to
reduce crit chance, maybe.
Yeah, if you don't know about the change, when they changed the glyph and you got the glyph, I mean, the rotation is still one of the hardest, just because it's not as combat rogue is hard, but that you're putting combo points with just one thing on, and you're trying to manage your uptime on your 2 or 3 different things, right? But feral druid, you have to have a bleed on. There's all kinds of things that come in, and then different things that you use different moves to get combo points. It's very it's kind of like an art. It is still tough, but our friend Table Slam's been on the show a bunch of times, had an actual really cool way to kind of bring their DPS down a little bit, but make it kind of fair. What he wants to do is change the glyph to not proc on feral fairy fire. He wants to change it to proc on cower. Therefore, you, in a minute's time, where you could get 10 feral fairy fires in, you could only get 6 cowers in. So it would bring down your instant procs from 10 a minute to 6 a minute. So that would help bring down the DPS some. And then it would also help bring down the aggro problems that druids still have a problem
Encouraging
with.
druids to press a button they don't ever press.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't do enough, so I just don't put it in my rotation.
Yeah, so it would be nice.
You crit and die.
Yeah, it'd be nice for tanks. Those are the only people that I every once in a while struggle with on pull is druids. And it's just if they get a couple crits off and a couple extra procs along with their free proc, it's woo. But I thought that was a cool idea. I floated it over to some people at Blizzard that I know, and maybe they'll talk about it.
No, that seems like a good idea. Glyph of feign weakness, so they're cowering a little bit but then swiping hard.
Yep.
Even just reducing crit chance maybe even would be a decent damage nerf without truncating overall damage, because you're still getting good white damage, but just
I mean, we're hitting the crit cap, to where we have to switch to strength now. It's gemming instead of crit and everything. It's an agi and everything. It's crazy.
Fun to have. I'm happy for ours. I want them to pop off an ICC and help us out a little bit. It's gonna be tough content anyway, so let them have their damage.
Cool. Well, I just thought I would bring it up, and then the only other piece of news really that came out is the BlizzCon floor plan is revealed. Now, are either of you guys planning on going to BlizzCon?
I am not, unfortunately. I'm still working. Almost next year after I'm retired.
I've never been to BlizzCon, and I don't know. I'm the sole provider. So like and I get paid by billable hours. So if I'm not working, I'm not getting paid. So
gotcha.
It just doesn't work out for me.
Well, we are going, but if you ever get a chance to go, you should definitely check it out. It's like, I don't know how it's going to be now. This is kind of a reimagining of it, but it's interesting that like the World of Warcraft area is so small compared to the 2 Overwatch areas and Diablo area. I thought that was interesting. But there's not really much to talk about here unless someone has something else.
Overwatch has such a large area, which is interesting to me because I feel like Overwatch is definitely not as popular anymore. But they did take the Overwatch World Cup out of the BlizzCon arena, which is also interesting.
Where are they putting it?
It's like in just one of the halls, like in the middle, where they used to have like StarCraft, like, tournaments and things like that. I feel like, but
so what's
Overwatch
go in the arena instead?
Yeah, so it just says community night opening ceremony and panel discussions. Which panel discussions in the arena, like those have got to be some
legitimate
big panel discussions
to talk about. I mean, does that coincide with Metzen's return? So
that's maybe what we're going to talk about next in discussion, because lots of rumors going around.
Mm-hmm.
But we're pretty excited, and we need to. I don't know if it'll be out before this. We need to record our challenge, but I don't want to I don't want to say anything unless we've already gotten that out, and I don't know if we'll get it out before this episode. But we do need to get on that. We got something cool coming to the listeners, and a pretty extensive or a pretty big giveaway. So stay tuned for that, or maybe you already heard about that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm just going to take us on to.
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right, so this week's discussion is interesting. I think it's funny because Winky is in the chat, but Chris Metzen has a new position at Blizzard. He is creative director of the Warcraft. I can't talk. Executive creative director of the Warcraft universe. So some people might not know, but Chris came back a while back. I don't know, 8 or 9 months ago, maybe even more. But I do remember specifically the episode we reported on it, and Winky and Cargos were the 2 guests. And I thought to myself, I said it on that episode, how cool would it be if they were bringing him back for Classic Plus, or, a continuation after Wrath, or something of that nature, something to reboot or redo World of Warcraft. Well, we know that there's a big announcement or announcements coming from Chris and Holly Longsdale, who they brought in for the Classic team much earlier on, but she's now on the full Warcraft team. And there's been speculation about all this different things, and I saw a really fun supposed leak. I mean, I don't this is just there's no way to know anything really, but I thought it was a fun one to read, so I thought I would read it out. So this is World of Warcraft Awakening, the first Classic Plus expansion with a sticker price of $49.99. The whole idea is, what if the Dark Portal didn't open after Vanilla? Chris Metzen would be the head behind this project. They will reuse assets from BC Wrath and Cataclysm to maintain the visual aspect of Classic era. New models will look like the Reawakening Phase Hunter that they added in TBC. Level cap is 70. Without new content continents, Hyjal and the Emerald Dream will be the new zones. The idea is to finish the various vanilla quest lines that were lost in time with the arrival of the Burning Crusade. High Elves and Ogres are the new races respectively for the Alliance and Horde. The first raid tier will be against the Scourge. Cataclysm Classic will also happen after Wrath. I thought this sounds too good to be true to me, but what do you guys think?
First of all, I was wondering how you were going to connect Winky to Chris Metzen there at that first moment. You were like, well, Winky's in the chat. And we've got Chris Metzen.
Thought it was funny because when we first reported on Chris coming back to take a role at Blizzard, it was on the episode. It just
took a while to get to that connection. I was just like, what are we doing here? But yeah, I mean, I think that World of Warcraft Awakening, I think that's a
pipe dream.
Somebody's take. Well, no, I don't know that it's a pipe dream. I think we can expect some sort of Classic Plus. I really do. I think they may announce something in at BlizzCon, but I think it would be the initial like, this is kind of our vision type of thing, and we get it in like 5 years. But I don't know about the Awakening. I think that's just somebody's idea of what it could be.
Yeah, I think it's odd that they're releasing this. I don't think I've seen the data. Remember when they sent out the poll of who would be interested in playing basically Cata Classic? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they released the results of that poll, but I don't think it's going to be as big as they had hoped. I think there's going to be plenty of people that are still going to do it just because, I just want to keep doing some old content. But timing wise, if they're looking at it from a business model and saying, not a lot of people are interested in Cata Classic, so we're going to lose a lot of our Classic people because, we can only go back to Vanilla Classic so many times. And some people love that. I'm a huge fan of Classic. And then those people aren't going to go to retail. I'm sorry, the R word we don't say here, I guess. So we got to figure out something. And I think the biggest thing with them, if they're assuming that, hey, we're going to go to a 70 level cap, is you have potential to incorporate TBC talent trees, which I think a lot more people found as a fair balance across the board of things to bridge that gap or give a little class balance without changing things, right? Because people that love Classic don't want any changes to their class balance and because they all want to play Warrior and Rogue. And then, the other people are like, I just want to be a viable spec of something. If they give me dual spec, I'll just be a happy clam, because
I wanted it from the beginning. I want
to be able to do something out in the open world and not worry about dying or hitting people with a fettuccine noodle like I am as a holy paladin. Mm-hmm. I'd like to be able to farm or mine and be a ret pally and then switch for raids. But no,
or it's just PvP in general. Like I was a Fury Warrior, which is basically a rogue without any utility. And so, like, I just didn't want a PvP. I was just like, all right, kill me. All right, run back. Okay, kill me again. And just try to get away. Yeah, so I get you.
Yeah, and I imagine they'd probably do some class balance. Not necessarily class balance, but class inclusivity. I don't know if you're going to have an Ogre Paladin or a High Elf Shaman, but they probably will.
Oh, I missed that. Some of that. Yeah, I missed those.
What are they going to bring? Are they going to bring new classes along with those races? Are those races going to be opened up to other classes? They're going to shuffle things through. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably not true, but I thought it was
probably not.
It might be close though. Like Classic Plus might be coming. Like, and I don't know what that means. It might not even be a level change. It might just be the new raids coming. I don't know.
One thing that I would be really interested in is like Hardcore was released without progressive content, with each phase coming out. And so you're seeing a different progression in the raids. We're cherry picking from this content and this content and that content and this content.
It is very interesting, yeah.
And if we're talking about a Classic Plus, where does that content fit within the context of the current content? And is there going to be a progressive server? Because I think that's one of the biggest assets for Blizzard is a progressive server and a fresh feel. If they bring fresh and progressive servers, that's what people, I think, are into. That's what people are saying, like with a new vanilla classic or whatever, they want progressive servers. Like I feel like it was a little bit. The one disappointment that I have in hardcore is that it wasn't progressive.
I want to see somebody on a scarab mount hardcore.
See,
Let's be real.
I said that too before it came out. I was like, I think that's lazy. I think they should do progressive. But then I started to think, like, I'm getting to see some interesting stuff. Like, I don't know if I think it's the best way to do a server, but I think it's neat to see how people are dicing it up. How Frontier's doing like the first few bosses in Nax, and stuff like that. Like, I think it's kind of neat just to see how that's playing out, right? Like,
I think it's why we're seeing so many deaths. Let's be honest, right?
We're seeing most of the deaths. See, 40-man raids are fairly safe. It's the 20-man raids that are rough, man.
I don't know. I think
each person's individual responsibility is worth 5% there versus, whatever it is, 1 or 2 point something percent.
I personally want to see Blizzard come out with statistics on how many Twitch chats have killed people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was in agreement with the non-progressive server in hardcore just because I feel like 99% of people playing hardcore are not looking at in-game rating, right? So it didn't, either way, it wasn't going to impact them, right? So I don't know if I would have wanted them to put the resources and the, time into the progression or the progressive server, but it wouldn't have changed anything for the majority of the player base.
Yeah, from a business model, it kind of pigeonholes them too, because now they're set on a release schedule for all the way through, Nax dropping, whereas if you just open it up all at the beginning and nobody comes and plays hardcore, you can just shut servers down and be done with it.
Right.
But in the context of the discussion with a Classic Plus, where does that new content fit in? Because
would we just start with that new content? Yeah, I don't know.
Because if the gear is not better than Nax, then why do it?
I think
it sounds like it would be, right? Like, it sounds like they're talking about a new dungeon. I think another leak I saw about the same system was like they're going to have the Emerald Isle as a place you can level and some other areas. So there's new zones. And I think going back to our earlier conversation of that, the thing that I regret most about not playing in 04 is missing out on some of that newness and that community finding out something together. I think, should they have new races? Should they have some new classes that they introduce? Should they have new islands to explore, new quests to do that, and how they dovetail into? There is no more meta of, rushing to 60 through the same quest you do every time. Pink brain, just try to take over the world, But you can actually get some new exploration and some new blood in there. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, you can, as long as you don't have a PTR, but a PTR is necessary. So it seems like we have so many things that come out because of the PTR. People have explored it in the PTR and then, meted the crap out of it by the time it comes out.
I don't know that they would do that because they don't do a PTR in retail, right? Like, the raid's just released and oftentimes has bugs, right? Isn't that like, am I wrong there? Maybe Chad can tell me.
It seems like the world first, they're always fixing bugs because of the ongoing fixes while the world first race is happening.
Yeah. Does it have PTR?
Yeah, I think they do have PTR though. I think
they don't do the final boss. Though,
yeah, but I think the difference too is like right now when the PTR comes out for Classic, everybody has a somewhat understanding of what it's going to be, right? So they've got strategies built, and basically in the PTR they're going and testing them, and they're going and figuring out like min-maxing ways that they've done on potentially private servers or before, that they're like, hey, does it still work this way? And I think because because PTR is a limited amount of time, but because you already have that basic knowledge and that basic understanding and the strategies that have worked in the past, I think you can take more advantage of it. With a whole new game, I feel like PTR wouldn't it would still have some impact for sure, but I feel like it wouldn't have the same impact as the game re-release.
Yeah, and I've argued for no PTR every single time in Classic that it comes out. I've argued for no PTR, like, and everybody comes back at me, well, they just do it on private servers. And I was like, yeah, but private servers, I mean, when Onslaught was using their private server, like for Nax practice, some of the mobs did different interactions and didn't do certain things. And some mobs weren't pulled when you pulled, like a boss, but were pulled, when you pulled the boss, specifically Patchwork, like they thought they could skip trash because their private server allowed them to skip trash. Well, they would have found that out day one and been like, oh shit. And they would have, they would have wiped on the world first. So there is ways that people would wipe, but then if bugs are in there, I get why they do it because it's already out. But I think Belle's right. I think it would be much different if it were brand new content.
Yeah, and there's nothing saying they can't do a closed beta instead of a PTR. I mean, obviously they have a setup on how they do it, but you can invite certain people in to test your content that or have a good relationship with, and then say, hey man, you're not going to stream this content because we want people to have it new. You're not going to post guides. You're not going to, update Questy as the add-on for this because of the data you get out of here. Like, we want to make sure.
Wait a minute.
I know, Mel. You're going to have to find it on your own.
No. I don't know if I agree with this anymore. I also think we all think that we want the fresh feel again. I think it's unrealistic to think that that's ever going to happen just in the time that we live. Right.
I don't think in a WoW game. I think like if you're looking at, I don't know if anybody follows like Ashes of Creation or other things like that, those other games that are on the horizon. I think you're going to get that with that, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
You are to an extent, but I mean, even Bobby and I played like Baldur's Gate, and we were looking up guides and like trying to figure out the best.
We actually stopped. And like we were like, we are ruining this. Like, we don't need guides for this game. Like, but I mean, Diablo.
But it's your first
same thing. Everybody,
the best part of the game is your choices in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
Diablo. Yeah, everybody's gonna look up. All right. Well, I don't think that Diablo 4 is a good example of a great game, but Diablo 4, let's look up the meta-defining build. Okay, I guess I'm going to be this kind of barbarian and this kind of sorcerer and this kind of,
I will say though, Diablo's like talent trees though. Like, I feel like you really do have to look up. Like,
it was overwhelming right off the bat. Yeah,
it seems very complex
for sure.
Gotta have some self-discipline.
Paragon stuff. Ooh.
Yeah,
you gotta have some self-discipline and not look up guides though. Like,
yeah, that's what on Baldur's Gate. We actually we out of habit, like Mel said, instinct, we immediately did that. And then by about level 3, I was like, stop. We are ruining this. Like, yeah.
There's so much to the story that you're cheating yourself out of. And that's what really counts for those games. Like Baldur's Gate's a little different, kind of like Divinity and other things there.
Yeah, it's one of the best games ever made and so impressive. Oh my gosh.
It's kind of like you're looking forward to reading a book. And then before you read the book, you go check the Cliff Notes before you read it. And it's like...
Yeah, you make sure it has a good ending,
Yeah, you've been looking forward to it forever, and then you just check out the Cliff Notes.
That is my wife to a T while watching a TV show that has an animal in it. She will pause the movie or TV show, Google to see if that animal lives to the end, and then if it doesn't, she won't continue watching it. And if it does... I mean,
that's kind of a deal breaker. Has she seen John Wick?
No, of course not.
Yeah. I feel like that's what first got me to be like, whoa, like the evilness of people. And, that's a whole different discussion, but don't kill a dog.
The dog in
Netflix show. Don't fuck with cats.
What was the show where Will Smith lost the dog? He was like the last person in New York.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that was
Legend
rough.
Or something.
Oh, Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I Am Legend.
Yep.
Yeah, I Am Legend.
Yeah, the company I worked for at Warner Brothers actually made that movie. But okay, so
sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's all kinds of things that could be really neat, but guys, we know exactly what the announcement is going to be. You all have phones. It's Warcraft Classic Mobile. That's what the announcement's going to be, guys. So Probably temper your expectations. Temper your expectations. Like, yeah.
You guys, the announcement will 110%.
We're going to do Tower Defense Warcraft Mobile.
Like, it will be Cata Classic. We know the Cata Classic is coming. I think they may tease something else, but
they're moving people out of the arena for just Cata Classic. Everybody knows it's coming, so don't move the arena for that. There's got to be something bigger. I know they were talking Blizzard's survival game, right? That was on the horizon for a bit too.
Yeah, I'm hoping to hear about that too.
I would like to hear about that for sure. That's because that's a whole new universe too, or a whole new
whole new IP
world. Yeah, exactly. Now and I'm a big survival game fan anyway, but I would love to hear about that if they release that at BlizzCon.
I still think they've missed out. They've missed out for years. Like when they came out with Heroes of the Storm, I was like, "Where's your Smash Brothers? Like, where's your fighting game with all of these different characters from your different universes?"
Oh my God, Deckard Cain throwing some stay a while and listen, throwing somebody off a mushroom. Yeah, down.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I don't know. Like either way, it's exciting. I'm excited about what we're gonna hear, but could even be Warcraft 4, which I said like when they first said that there was going to be an announcement, but I don't know. Just have to see.
You think RTSs are still viable?
I don't know.
People play that.
I would play Warcraft 4, but I don't know.
I would. No, don't get me wrong. I'd play it. Warcraft 3 is one of the best games ever. But
I just don't know if I'd play it a ton PvP like I did Warcraft 3 back in the day.
That's what I'm asking because that's what they're looking at is how many people are going to get continuing to play and subscribe or buy or battle pass or whatever you want to add on to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the age of the RTS is gone. I think Stocks, our very gifted rogue that's with us. We were talking about that yesterday. I think the MOBA kind of pushed RTSs out because the skill threshold to get into it is less, and enjoy it is less, right? Whereas remember the top end days of StarCraft where you had to remember every control command or build sequence number. Like, all right, Q14 is going to build this specific item because if you didn't have that down, you were going to just get rolled over because you couldn't build fast enough or queue stuff up fast enough.
What's your click rate, bro? What's your click rate?
Yeah.
So, actions per APM. Oh, well, anybody else have anything else to add on that? Anybody? No.
It always reminds me of the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where the guy's like looking up on the floor plan of BlizzCon and like the announcement of Chris Metzen, and he's like putting the yarn.
The yarn.
Yep. For sure.
Oh man, well,
100%.
There's going to be more of these supposed leaks popping out. I'm sure everybody's going to, I mean, this does sound like fan service and somebody's dream of how they would like to see it. I personally have said it many times. I think the talent trees in TBC weren't great. Like, I don't like, lots of classes had just, a few buttons. Like, I love the Wrath rotations. But like, I'm starting to hate the way the raids were built, that they hold out so many people from having a good time. And like, I don't like heroic raids and regular raids because it just separates the rich from the poor even more. Like, I loved classic speed running because you were watching these amazing guys with the same gear that you have doing stuff that you can't do. And like, that was cool. Better. Yeah. And like, where is a common thing you could say in retail is like, well, oh yeah, I could do that if I didn't have a job and did this for my, life. Like, when you probably couldn't, but like, people are going to say that. So it cheapens it in both ways, in my opinion, but it's not a very popular opinion I've found.
I agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, Simonize has even come out. Simonize was one of the few that like agreed with me. I was like, thank you. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm not super
good content. Love that.
Oh yeah, he's great. He probably gets annoyed with me, like asking him rogue questions in DMs all of the time. But
I think he's a good guy, for, man. Like he's such a brain, so cerebral.
Oh, he's never said anything. Yeah, I was
right.
make it
I think he thrives on
fun. All right, well, I think that's gonna wrap up the show for this week. I want to encourage everybody to follow us on Twitter to know when we go live at WC Reloaded. You can also follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us a voicemail, it's 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. And help the podcast. Just tell more people about the podcast, like in your guild discords. Word of mouth is the best way to go. We're still trying to grow on YouTube, so any comments that you put in there really help. I mean, even good or bad, like it just helps like draw people towards it. And podcasts are already a little rough in the YouTube algorithm, so help us out there. And thanks guys, and let's find out where we can find these people. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me arguing with Bob on his stream when we play Warcraft or when we play hardcore.
We two type A personalities. It's a a thing.
And Bob just doesn't realize that I'm always right, and he tries to take his own path, and I just have to remind him that he's died 3 times and I haven't died at all. And that usually goes over very well, and he, just totally accepts that, and we move on. But there is the rare time where he argues back. So we have that.
There is the most used soundbite that you can use for points is a listener, when we first got the voicemail messages, said at the very end of his message, Mel's the best and Bob, you're wrong. And I turned it into a soundbite you could buy on the, with your channel points. And it's used the absolute most out of any of the other ones. So
rightfully so.
Yep. So, if everybody else is crazy, then maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't know. Hap, where can we find you? And tell us a little bit about your stream and what an average stream for you is and stuff.
Average stream, I'm currently leveling hardcore. It's very community based, just like our guild. Very interactive with chat, just getting to know people and having a good time. And last stream, all of my officers decided to come into the stream and ban a bunch of words that I couldn't say. And for about 5 minutes, I could hardly speak because I was having an aneurysm just trying to think about how I could talk without saying the word on and quest and just these things that I took for granted, that all these words I took for granted. Anyway, we just have fun, silly things like that, and just have a good time and hang out and just get to know people. That's what it is.
And where's that at?
Twitch.tv/Hapstream, so HAP stream, and that's it. And then
from an IT guy though, that's a /.
Oh, is it /?
Yeah, or just call it whack.
Everybody knows what it is. It's the one by shift, right?
Yeah, yeah. The backslash is the one above enter, and it's used in DOS. So
oh
yeah. So
today I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can find me at Twitch or at Pushing Up Peacebloom. I'm the guild leader of that. So if you want to be a part of our guild, we'd love to have you. And it's been a good time. So
awesome. And again, that's HAP stream, Hap stream. So check him out. What about you, Trackzuit?
Yeah, so Trackzuit on Twitch, twitch.tv/Trackzuit, but instead of an S, you put a Z, Trackzuit. I am hardcore Holy Pally. I wear a heart rate monitor while I stream and heal people because people's actions cause me to almost go into heart attacks on the reg. Kind of fun. So my viewers mostly enjoy watching our near wipes that result in me getting like a 162, I think is my record right now for
oh, God.
heart rate.
Oh, wow. So I also use one of those, but I like rest at like 90s, and people always come in, they're like, something's wrong, Bob. I'm like, no.
Oh, same.
Something's wrong if I go down below 80. That's when I get scared.
They're like, do you have a problem? Your resting heart rate's like 99. I'm like, yeah, I'm on Adderall and I have other issues.
Same.
But,
Adderall, yep.
That's going to cause, nothing like meth to just keep you at a high resting heart rate. Probably not good for it. But we have a lot of witty banter and conversations. We usually have everybody in the Discord on my stream at the same time. So I may not be as engaging with the audience as because I'm usually trying to communicate with everybody on Discord, but feel free to hop into the Discord with us on Pushing Up Peacebloom and chat in there, be on stream with me. But yeah, just a good group of people all around.
Yeah,
if he starts going off on his Harry Carey impersonations, I just die every single time.
Oh my God.
That's an interesting thing about streaming. It's because, like, say I'm in raid, right? And all my guildies are talking, and and chat just stops talking. Like, and then when I'm, by myself doing something, chat's talking. Like, it's so weird how that works. Yeah. Like, and someone jumps in to talk to me or something, and they're on stream too, the chat will quiet down more. So I try to get people that hang out with me to like interact with chat too. I'm like, you just answer them, like, I don't know. But
he just tries to push it off on the people.
And I'm like, entertain.
Tries to do it to me all the time.
Are you the people? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I'm very stubborn and he knows that. So if he like goes to the bathroom and he's like, Mel, entertain chat, I'm like, hell no. I didn't sign up for this.
I can't do it. I can't do Discord and stream at the same time. I hop out of Discord and I'm completely on chat, because if I don't just focus on chat and the game, I'm going to end up dying.
Yeah.
Even when you do focus on the game, you end up dying.
Maybe.
Too soon?
Too soon.
No,
too soon.
It's I welcome the roasting.
And you can find me on Twitch and this show live at twitch.tv/blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me on Twitter at blazinbob, no underscore. And it's going to do it. We're going to get out of here. See you next week. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us, Bob.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.